All right, hello everybody. I am Purple Thickman, and today we're going to be checking out Lilith Odyssey, the simulation program. So this is an early access title. It is a space sim, and let's get right into it. So, as you can see, there's kind of a lot going on, but basically this is where you pick your difficulty. So as you can see up here, we have a hard difficulty, and then as you pick the different homeworlds, you can determine your stats. These are all randomly generated, so each playthrough is going to have a unique aspect to it, depending on who you pick as your starter family. And then one person in the family is going to be the character that you control. Now, the way that the difficulty is actually determined, as you can see over here, this is another hard family, but it all depends on how poor or rich you are, just like in real life. So, just for fun, we are actually going to pick a large family that is very wealthy. And this game also has a sandbox mode and a survival mode. We're going to tune the tutorial off, and we're just going to jump into a sandbox game. Alright, here we are on our planet Phlebas, Voyage Day 1. As you can see, we control this little character right here, and we have a couple different things to start with. So this is our Versatool, and kind of the point of this game, as you'll see, is to just collect resources. So we're going to send everyone to get carbon. It's kind of the most useful resource. It's used in pretty much everything. And then we are going to mine, we're going to chop down trees, and we're going to collect resources so that we can eventually get off of this planet and start exploring the outside worlds. If I pull up the map here, you can see that there is a lot going on, a bunch of different sectors. All of these are stars. All these stars have planets around them. And then in the center is a giant black hole, just like in every real universe. All right, we're back, and we have finally farmed enough stuff to leave this planet. Now, the good part about starting out very wealthy, as you can see, we have a lot of galactic currency, is we can buy pretty much whatever ship that we want. So we're at the town center here, and we're going to buy a ship, and I like to go with the Urbis freight class, and in particular, I like to look at the 37,000 ones right about. They seem to be the best ones. They have the best fuel efficiency, which is about 9 for this point in the game. And they have a pretty decent engine speed. This one is a little bit slower, but something that's very important is it has a signal strength of 5, which is really good. Normally, if you're starting out on one of the other economic classes or difficulties, you're going to be getting a ship that's a lot cheaper, and you're going to have a signal strength of 2, maybe 3 if you're lucky. So us, being very wealthy, we're going to buy the Urbis freight class here. And some of the other things that I've been doing, I've been sending my family off to collect carbon for me. As you can see, they've taken a bit of damage, some of them a little more than others, but that's fine. We also needed to get a potato farm going, so we've gone through the Survival 1 skill tree. We filled everything out while we were just collecting resources and waiting for our florp to turn into potatoes. So as you can see, this game also has this is basically the research section. They call it a technology tree, but this is where you research all the things that you need in the game. So farming, different fuels for your spaceships, which have different efficiencies. Things like guns, if you need them, which we will be getting much later on. But we've also made a lot of potatoes, and that is important because potatoes, as you can see if we right-click on these, can be converted to fuel, which we'll need eventually, but we have 1,000 right now. We're pretty much maxed out, but they also can be converted to rations, which we're very low on. So we're going to turn all of our potatoes into rations so that we can get going out into space. Another thing, we've also upgraded our versatile to a pro. So if you go into some of the houses here, let me go ahead and dematerialize my potato farm. You can talk to the local citizens, and they will either buy stuff from you, or you can buy things from them. Sometimes they're selling really good stuff for way cheaper than you find it in other places, but it all is all very random. So we are ready to beam out of here. There's one last thing that I do want to buy before we go. Where is it? And that is a gun, because it's dangerous out there in the galaxy. So it can never hurt to have a gun. But with that, we have our spaceship. I've built some other things that's going to be useful. We're going to beam right out into space, into the Phleba system. So this is kind of the main bit of the game here. So you can see that we have our spaceship here, and we can put stuff on it. Since we have the big boy spaceship, we can put different attachments on it. So some of the stuff that we've made, like the potato bays, so that you can get potatoes while you're going into outer space. And you can also produce fuel while you're out here. But let's take a look at the galactic map here and zoom in a lot more to where we are. So we start out on Phleba, and kind of the way that this game works is you just want to, go wherever you want. So if you want to head towards some of these more dangerous areas, some of these bigger zones where you can see like a bunch of cool stuff, I generally like to head towards the black hole, slowly but surely, heading towards the demise of the universe. The point of the game here is that this is actually a simulation, so we're controlling simulated characters, and their homeworld is dying because of basically corporate greed. So I'm going to start working my way towards the black hole here, but let's stop by EZO, which is typically the first area that you're going to go to. And the way that space navigation works is you can pull up this little ball, which helps you navigate where you're going to go. You can see the black hole that we want to head to eventually here. You can also pull up important stuff, like I like to pull up the planets, because while you can select stars to go to, you cannot stop at the stars. You have to stop at the planets that are next to them, and we're just going to get going. Another thing that we have that is very fun is the warp drive here. So we can just burn fuel very irresponsibly here and go a lot faster than typical. And now that we're heading towards this star, we can kind of see the planets that we might want to go to. Majula is typically the planet, or it's an asteroid, but typically the place that you're going to go first. So we can head there. We'll just change our little tracking, and we'll move our square so that we're heading towards Majula instead of EZO, like I said, which is a star. And so you can't land on it. But I will see you once we arrive at Majula. Alright, so here we are coming up to Majula, the asteroid here. So we're going to cruise right on in, and once we enter the planet's atmosphere, slow down a bit, we can land, and we can start just, taking all the resources from this planet as we work our way towards our goal. Whoop, we are inside the galactic body, but that is fine. We can land nonetheless. And here we are on Majula. So you can see we are now on day 10. So we've just kind of been running around collecting resources. And we are here. So Majula, like I said, is typically the first planet you're going to come to. Or asteroid, but your first planetary body. And this is where you kind of get introduced to the combat with these enemies that are really easy to kill. So you can hit things with your versatile. You also have, like I said, a gun that you can shoot things with. Typically, you're not really supposed to kill the local wildlife. If you look in the corner here, you can see that I'm actually losing points from killing creatures. It is frowned upon in this game, but they have good stuff inside of them. So I tend to kill them if they're in the way You're really just supposed to mine, as you'll see. I'll send my people out to go get more carbon. But animals are the only way you can get meat, as far as I know, at least in the early parts of the game, without purchasing it, which does require some bit of luck, or I guess just good RNG for things that are in the shops. And we can kind of look around to see what's going on in this world. Every world does have a big market that you can go to and, you know, buy stuff for your ship or resources, stuff of that nature. And this is kind of like the core gameplay loop. This is sandbox mode, so we don't have to really worry about too much. But as you get deeper into the game, and I'll pull up the map here, you can see like there's hostile areas, there's storms. You can actually get raided by enemies, and there's a little bit of like space combat and stuff going on that you have to deal with. If I also pull up the tech tree, I have smuggling gear, and a lot of this gear is to combat against raiders. So it's less likely that you'll be seen by raiders, less likely that if you do get seen, that they'll be able to steal some of your gear, stuff like that. But this game, at its core, is just a resource collector and a survival game. You run around and you find your way in the universe. And isn't that what we're all just trying to do? So we can stop down here. The way that you convert collected resources into useful things is you just kind of come into the menu and you break them all down, and you'll see we get carbon. If we kind of hover over them, we'll see that we get 2 carbon for breaking down this pile. You can just break it all down at once, which is very convenient. Typically, you'll want to go to a world and go about as far as you can with the resources that you have, and then you stop down on a world on your way to wherever it is you're going, and you collect just enough resources to keep going. So potatoes for rations, things like that. So we have our potato farm that we can drop down because we are going to be needing some more rations here soon. So we'll select that. We'll plop it right down here. And then we would open up the print catalog, which is where you do all of your crafting. And now that we have a good bit of carbon, we can print a bunch of florp. And then we take the florp and we put it in the potato farm, and it will make potatoes for us while we're running around here. The only thing that I could really complain about this game is the planets themselves do not have maps associated with them. So you do really have to pay attention to where you place your stuff down if you don't place it in a very central location. Typically, I will place my potato farm near the town center because that's just a good place to go. But we're just going to convert some potatoes here to rations and fuel as needed. Again, we started on easy, which means we have all the money in the world. So if we really are in a tough spot, we have... after we bought one of the most expensive ships in the game, we still have about the amount of money that you would have if you started with a hard or medium character. So we are not in a tight spot at all. But we'll just collect some more resources. We'll break these down, and then we'll take a look at the farm here. We have 32 potatoes, which we can convert all of these to rations. We could break down all of the stuff that we have. And I will see you when we are ready to get off of this planet. And we're going to go for the long haul. We're going to try and make it to the black hole. Alright, so we've grinded out some more food. As you can see, we have a lot more. So we're going to beam out of here, and we are going to get on our way. We're inside this galactic body, but that does not matter. We are going to start heading out of the Izzo zone, and we're going to just make our way towards the black hole, and we will stop off as needed on our way out of here. Look at that, 246 light years to get to this black hole, baby. All right, we are on Otondo now. You can see it's been about 6 more days. So The issue that we run into, which is pretty typical, is we're getting low on food here. So, or fuel. Sorry, we have plenty of rations, but we are definitely not intended to be able to make it directly to the black hole at the center of the universe. So the game does make it pretty hard to get there on one run. This map is very big, so I'm going to grab just a little bit more fuel, and we're actually going to take a look at how far we've gone so far. Again, so it's been about 15 days since we started, and the good thing about starting out super rich is we can buy the good fuel, and we can just buy so very much of it. All right, so as you see, I've bought a ton of fuel cells that we can convert to fuel. I've also bought a lot of the like highest tier food that we can convert into either fuel or rations, which we do not really need too much of. But you can see one of these is equivalent to 4 meals up here, so we can go a long ways with this. The only thing that we would have to do is stop every now and then to convert our food and our fuel into the Awatano system. But just to stop every now and then and convert our food and our fuel pods into rations and fuel the gas here. But as you can see, this is about as far as we made it. We're about here, and there's a lot of map to get to the black hole here, especially if you want to get past it to the unprotected territories or explore some of these places out here, like Lilith, which I have not made it to yet, but is one of the few marked areas, so it's got to be very important. But if I do zoom in a lot more here, with about 15, 16 intergalactic days, we've made it from Fleba to Izo, which was our first stop. We putzed around there for a couple days, and then we've made it to Awatano, which is where we are about now. And that's like 25 to here, so probably about like 30 light years. And there is a lot more to go. This game, for an early access game, is absolutely massive on the map. As you can see, like, the black hole is still another 226 light years. So it's definitely going to take you a good while to get there if you pick this game up and start playing, especially if you're stopping off at planets and really exploring the world. Anyway, that is Lilith Odyssey. I just wanted to show off kind of the core gameplay loop here. There's a big sandbox mode, which is what I'm playing right now, and there's a survival mode, which I've not tried yet. But if you would like to see more of Lilith Odyssey, or you want to check this game out for yourself, the Steam page will be in the description. You can like this video if you so choose. You can comment if you want to see me play more of this, or you want to see other games like this on the channel. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm, so it really helps me and the channel out. Growing, getting more eyes on cool indie content like this, and I really appreciate it. And I want to wish you all a good day, night, whatever it is, wherever you are, and I will see y'all in the next video.